Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Thank you everybody for inviting me to your home and making me feel as one of you. So this is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Right? What does that mean?
Ecstasy?
For him it means ecstasy. That's a very good answer. This is prasadam. Prasadam means the mercy. So, in this country you say Krishna Bhavanamrta. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Bewusstsein.
Bewusstsein. And that means consciousness of Krishna, right? And what does consciousness mean?
To be aware or?
To be aware, to be thinking of Krishna, right? But that's not how we say it in Sanskrit. It's not how we say it in Bengali. We say Krishna Bhavanamrta Sangha. Sangha means association or society. Krishna Bhavana. Bhavana means the feeling, the emotion that you have. And Amrita means the nectar or the ecstasy that you're experiencing through that emotion that you have when you're connected to Krishna. So in the Western countries, it's up here, Krishna consciousness. And in the East, it's down here. It's Krishna Bhavanamrita. So this is the first thing I discovered in 1975 after Prabhupada requested us to come to India. That the whole mood was different because it was all coming from a different place. It's coming from the heart. So we say that we're practicing bhakti yoga, right? And bhakti means
Devotion.
devotional service. So where does devotion come from? From the heart. And when you sing a song, where do you sing from? From the heart? And where does Krishna reside in the human body? In the heart. So the whole process of Krishna consciousness, where does it take place? In the heart. It doesn't take place outside. It takes place in our heart. So that's what Prabhupada meant when he said our consciousness. He tried to translate Krishna Bhavanamrta Sangha into Western-speaking languages, and there just wasn't any words close enough to Bhavanamrita, the nectar of the feeling, of the emotion. So he came up with consciousness, which is the closest thing that he could get to Krishna Bhavanamrita. But we should understand that we want to experience that Amrita, as he said, ecstasy, but it has to come from the bhavana first, from the emotion, from the feeling. And the feeling is from within the heart. If that ecstasy is coming from external and not from internal, then it won't last, as we've already seen over the last 40 years. Many have come, many have started, but many have not finished. They've departed. And why they departed? Because they didn't make it internal. So there's the Bahiranga Shakti and the Antaranga Shakti. So the Bahiranga Shakti is the external energy. So in the beginning, we're all external. We're all thinking externally. All our relationships are external. Everything we do is external. But if we don't internalize it so it becomes the Antaranga Shakti, then Prabhupada used the example of that jar of honey. You have the jar of honey, you can see the honey, it's there, it's in your hand. can't taste it. You're enthusiastic because you've got the honey, but you can't taste it. You have to unscrew the jar, take it from inside. So this is Bhavanamrta, Krishna Bhavanamrta. Antarashtriya, universal. Of course, Antarashtriya means universal all over this planet, but it really means all over the Jagat, the entire universe. So Kirtan means experiencing that bhavana and tasting that amrita. Lord Chaitanya says that it's the nectar for which everyone's hankering after. Adana Janama Sundarim, I don't want any of those things. But I just want to taste that Bhavanamrita. And when we do, in any endeavor in the material world, you can do a good job or a bad job, right? You can clean the floor nicely or not so nicely. In other words, a good job means you did it right, and a bad job means you didn't do it right. So in every endeavor, you can do it right or you can do it wrong. You do it 100% or you can do it 10% or 50%. So the important thing is that everything we do for Krishna, we do 100%. Is Krishna worth giving 100% of our energy, of our consciousness, of our feeling? If anybody's worth giving 100% to, it's Krishna, right? Sisi Radha and Krishna, Gaurnita and Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham. As you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So if you want 100% reciprocation from Krishna, how much do you have to give? If you only give 10%, what are you going to get back? Well, Krishna tells you. That's his, the word modus operandi? It's Latin. Modus operandi means your method of operating, your operating method. In other words, how your life's, your motto. So Krishna's modus MO, we say MO for short, modus operandi. His MO is ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. That you approach me first, and however you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. I respond accordingly. That's his modus operandi. And in every verse in Bhagavad Gita, if you study Bhagavad Gita, he's telling Arjuna, you have to take the first step, and then I reciprocate. Like I give you an example. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mahupayanti te. So anyone who is fully engaged with devotion and with love, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. So that bhajan has to be filled with emotions. Just like here, there's Gopakumar. Gopakumar has just arrived back in Vrindavan. And as soon as Krishna sees him, he runs to him and embraces him tightly. Tears coming from Krishna's eyes. Because he knows that Gopakumar has gone through whatever, millions of births to come back to him. Ananyas chintayantu mam ye jana paripashite. Anyone who has no other thought except for me, Krishna says. Tesham nitya abhiyuktanam. To such people, tesham, to those, nitya, I am constantly or eternally, nitya abhiyuktanam, connected. I'm always connected to those people. So Krishna is connected to us when we're always thinking of him. Prabhupada explained there's three processes: thinking, feeling, and willing. So we start with thinking, then feeling, and then willing. So Gopal Kumar was thinking, then he was feeling, and then he was willing, and he came all the way to Krishna. So the whole time that Gopal Kumar was thinking, feeling, and then willing, Krishna was feeling nitya abhiyuktanam. I'm eternally connected to this person, but still he's waiting for Gopal Kumar to come. But what does Krishna do along the way? While he's waiting and while you're struggling or while you're thinking, feeling, and willing, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. He protects your devotion. He protects your yoga. Everything that you do, he protects. Vahami. Vahamyaham. Vahami means to carry. And whatever you're lacking, he carries. Whatever is not there, he's going to make it up for you. Now, how do people understand that? So, how I understand it is, supposing you're at the university, you write the exam, and you get 90%. So then it's on your record forever that you got 90%. It'll always be 90%. But Krishna, he makes that 90%, you carry what you lack. You're lacking 10%, I carry that. Now you have 100%. So how do we know that this is what Krishna's doing? Because sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayisyami masucha. Everybody know this verse? Prabhupada said that this verse is the essence of the Gita. Now some people think that manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru is the essence of the Gita. But Prabhupada said sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja is the essence of the Gita. Because what does it mean? It means that all dharmas, you just put them in the background. Parityaja means that eventually we have to give them all up. So we start by reducing. We reduce more and more and more and more until it comes to nil. Ma ekam, and you make me number one in your life. Sharanam, you have to surrender to that. Vraja, what does vraja mean? It comes from the Sanskrit word vrajan. Vrajan means touring. Like right now, I'm on tour, doing vrajan. So vraja means you're going somewhere. So ma ekam shanam vraja, so you surrender and make me number one wherever you go. Now, if you go from India to Switzerland, you have to make Krishna number one. How about if you go from the temple to your house? You're going somewhere, you have to make Krishna number one. How about if you're going from this room to the next room? You have to make Krishna number one. In other words, every step you take, Krishna has to be number one. Every step you take, every breath you make, Krishna has to be number one. Then what happens? Yeyitamam pravajante tam sataiva vajamyaham. Then Krishna says, aham tvang sarva papebhyo. I will take away all sarva, all your sinful reactions, all your pap karmas. What does sarva mean? It means all, right? What does all mean? All means past, present, and future. So Krishna takes away all your past sinful reactions, we can understand that. He takes away your present sinful reactions, we can understand that. And he takes away your future sinful reactions. So what is your future sinful reactions? You haven't come to the future, so you haven't committed them yet. So what does Krishna mean when he says that?
Maybe there's no future for us here anymore.
Well, that's good. That's a good way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that the seeds of those sinful reactions are in our heart. And when we come to the future, we're going to behave the way we did in the past and the present. So Krishna is going to, he's going to wipe away the seeds in our heart also. So when we get to the future, we don't commit those sinful reactions. So that's the understanding of Yoga Kshemam. I protect your yoga, Maham Yaham, and I carry what you lack. He's going to, what we're lacking is purity of heart. We still have those seeds in our heart. He's going to carry that, take it away. And then what happens? He took away your past sinful karmas, your present, and the seeds in your heart, so there's no future. Now your slate is completely clean. Moksha Ishyami. And I deliver you, bring you back home to my Nitya Lila. Masucha, don't have any doubts. So in the beginning, Arjuna had doubts. I can't fight this. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm perspiring. My Gandiva bow is slipping from my hand. How can I fight? So he had doubts. And then Krishna's final instruction, after he's told him everything, Masucha, don't have any doubts. Don't worry. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody and explaining certain things, and then at the end of that I say, so don't have any doubt. What do I mean? What does Krishna mean when he says, don't have any doubts?
Faith.
Hmm?
Faith.
Yeah, to have faith. But more deeper than that. Faith is like the first step. We begin with faith, right? That's why we come to Krishna consciousness, because we have some faith, right? But what's the goal? When Krishna says don't have any doubts, that's a negative way of saying something. Don't have any doubts. Do not doubt. How do you say the same thing in a positive way?
Act for me.
Surrender.
Huh?
Surrender.
Trust me.
Trust me. Who said that? Who said trust me? That's what it means. Don't have any doubts. Trust me. So Krishna speaks the whole Gita, speaks this final essence of the Gita. You just surrender to me. I'll take care of everything. I'll carry what you lack. Bring you back home, back to Godhead. Trust me. Our problem is we don't trust Krishna. That's our problem. It's our only problem. So how do we develop trust in Krishna? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That the supreme conqueror of doubt is this Hare Krishna Kirtan. Param Vijayate, the supreme conqueror. Vijay means to conquer. Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So this is how we overcome doubts. This is how we learn to trust Krishna. And how does that happen? Because I experience some bhavana and I get some amrita from that bhavana. So now it's not a question of faith anymore. It's an experience, practical experience. In the beginning we come and we tell people if you chant Hare Krishna you become blissful. So you have faith, just try it. So in the beginning we try it and we get some external bliss. That's the antaranga, the bahiranga shakti, but we want it to become internal so we can experience that Bhavanamrita. And then when we experience it, there's nothing else for us but Krishna. Not a question of faith anymore, because we're experiencing it. So we experience it in the kirtan. But you can do the kirtan wrong, and you can do it right. Just like every other endeavor in the spiritual world, everything is always done right. In the material world, mostly it's done wrong. That's why we stay here. We do it wrong. Like, for example, there's 2 reasons why everyone's here in this room today. The first reason that you're here today is because you want to go back home, back to Godhead. You want to follow the path of Krishna consciousness. You want to associate with the devotees. You want to be part of Lord Chaitanya's movement. So that's the first reason that you're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the second reason that you're here? Nobody thinks about the second reason. Yeah?
Well, we're making some mistakes in this endeavor to go back.
We made huge mistakes. And the biggest mistake we made was in our last life. We didn't go back to Krishna. We took birth again. Here we are, again. Right? Is that a mistake? We made a mistake in our last life. Are you going to make the same mistake in this life again? Once you realize that that's your situation, you got to start thinking, how do I prevent myself from making the same mistake again and take birth one more time again? Punarajanma. So our last life, we were all unsuccessful. That's why we're here. That's the reason. We're trying again, and again, and again, and again. When are we going to get it right? That should be our foremost question. When are we going to get it right? What are we doing wrong? I can't correct what I'm doing wrong unless I first know what it is that I'm doing wrong. Is that logical?
Yes.
Swiss people are very logical, right? So first I have to know what I'm doing wrong. And what is Lord Chaitanya says, Bahu Janma Jari Shavana Kirtan Tabuta Napai Sri Krishna Premadan. That you can go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra for millions of births and you will never get the treasure of love of Krishna. Because of, why? Because of what? Sorry?
Offenses.
Offenses. Because of offenses. And the offenses start in the thinking stage. The offense comes into the mind. I think about it. And then it goes to the feeling stage. I start feeling it. A negative feeling towards somebody. And then it comes to the willing stage where I speak out something negative, or I do something negative towards another Vaishnava. So that offense is called Sadhuninda. Prabhupada translated it like this. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So who are these devotees who've dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord, that I'm not supposed to offend? Who are they?
Everybody else but me.
Everybody in this movement. Every man, every woman, every child. And if I start thinking something negative about someone, eventually it's going to come out. And now I've done it wrong. Now I've blocked myself from tasting that Bhavanamrta. So this fault-finding mentality is called kutinati. I find the fault of other people instead of finding my own fault. Now, if I find the fault of other people, can I correct them? No. If I find my own fault, can I correct it? Yeah. We can only correct our own faults. Here's something that people don't know. The reason they don't know is because they don't study Shastra. But here's something you should know, because this will change your life. Every time you find fault with a person, and we all have faults. We agree on this point? Everyone has faults, and from my faults, I'm going to get some karmic reaction. But if someone else finds my fault, he takes my karmic reaction. Thank you very much. You're now my best friend. People who find my faults are my best friends. They're cleaning the way for me to go back home, back to God. Thank you so much. Any more faults you can find?
And the spiritual world.
But the fault finder never notices this, never realizes this. And the fault finder starts sharing those faults with other people. Have you heard the latest about so-and-so? Oh, really? Wow, I gotta tell so-and-so. And you know, they're on their phone telling people. And in this way, you're just spoiling everything in your Krishna consciousness. So here's how Prabhupada described it. He said, we follow the process. It's like building a fire of devotion in the heart. And then by committing the offense, it's like pouring water on the fire. So every day we build the fire, every day we pour water on it. Build the fire, pour the water. Build the fire, pour the water. That's how Prabhupada described it. I use a different analogy. I use the analogy of the hamster on the wheel. Seen the hamster on the wheel in the pet shop? He's going like this, the wheel's going round and round, but he's staying in the same place, not making any advancement. Build the fire, pour the water. Build the fire, pour the water. And what is that wheel called? Samsara. Samsara dava nalalita loka. Burns like fire because you have to take birth again and again and again and again. The hamster doesn't realize it. He thinks he's going somewhere, staying in the same place. And the fault-finding devotee doesn't realize it either. He thinks he's going somewhere, but he's just staying in the same place. Take birth again. Or Lord Chaitanya just says, you know, you're not ready for this philosophy, it's too deep for you. Let me show you the door. Try again next life. Adios, amigo. Hasta la vista. And we've seen that. So, you know, in our lives. Most of my God brothers and God sisters aren't here anymore. They did something wrong, but they didn't correct it, and Lord Chaitanya had to show them the door. But they thought they're leaving on their own accord. I was doing research in the 1990s for my books, and I interviewed over 500 devotees. And some of those devotees I had to track down. They'd been out of the movement for a long time. Some of them were bitter. Some of them were sad, unhappy. Some of them seemed blissful. I remember one devotee, Trilokanath. He was really helpful, really nice and everything. So I asked, I asked him at the end of our talk, why did you leave? He said, well, you know, I was reading Prabhupada's books, and all those things that Prabhupada says in his books you're going to experience, I never experienced them. So I lost faith. So he didn't experience the Bhavana, the Amrita, the nectar. He didn't become free from all sinful reactions. In 6 years, he didn't get the result. So he lost faith. It doesn't work. So, therefore, it's explained by Rupa Goswami, we need enthusiasm, utsaha, but we also need daryat, patience. It's not a 6-year process. I don't become a pure devotee in 6 years, that doesn't work. The reason he didn't become a devotee in 6 years is because he didn't correct his faults. So, kutinati means finding other people's faults, and it's a cause of your own fall down. It doesn't even harm the other person, it helps the other person. You're clearing their path back to Godhead by finding their faults. So this is very ironic. You see, Krishna has a real sense of humor. I don't like somebody, so I'm finding their fault and speaking negatively, and it's only harming me, and it's helping them. The reverse of what I want, which is to pull them down, I'm lifting them back home, back to Godhead, is pulling myself down, and they don't even know it. What's that Sanskrit word when you don't know what's going on? And you're acting, huh? It's called Maya. That's the word. You have no idea what's going on. You're an illusion. You're accepting one thing for another. You're thinking your heart. You're finding that person's fault. You're doing something good. This guy is bogus. He's a sahaja. He's unclean. He's insincere. I'm doing a great service to the movement by pointing it out to everybody so we can get rid of this person. Just have a pure movement. But instead, I'm purifying taking away their sinful reactions and taking it upon myself. What is the quality of a devotee that Krishna values the most? That turns Krishna on the most? Krishna is most attracted to which quality in devotees?
Compassion.
No.
Humility.
Humility. Who said that? Yeah, humility. Who's the most humble person on the planet? Krishna. He became the rickshaw wala for Arjuna. That's what a chariot driver is. It's a rickshaw. You know that story when Lord Chaitanya was traveling through South India and he came to one temple and he saw the Brahmins were laughing and criticizing another Brahmin, another devotee. You know that story? So he went up to them and said, "Oh, you're speaking negative about this person. Why is this?" "Oh, he's bogus." "What do you mean?" "Look at him. You think he's reading Bhagavad Gita? He's illiterate. He's pretending. He's fake. He's false. He's a pretender." So Lord Chaitanya went over to him, took the book, put it right way up. "I see that you are illiterate." "Yes." "Then why you were reading Gita like this?" So, "Oh, well, my Guru Maharaj, he didn't understand that I was illiterate. He didn't know that I was illiterate. And he gave me an instruction. Every day you must read Bhagavad Gita. So I'm just trying to fulfill the order of my Guru Maharaj, that's all." Lord Chaitanya liked that. So then he said, "But if you can't understand, if you can't read, you don't understand what's going on, why is there a tear coming out of your eye?" And he said, "Well, you see this picture on the wall? There's Krishna. He becomes the rickshawala for his devotee, Arjuna. The Supreme Lord takes the most humble position, subordinate to his devotee, and elevates his devotee to the highest position. So whenever I see that, my heart just breaks and tears come to my eyes." And what did Lord Chaitanya say to him? Anybody know? He said, "You are the real knower of the Gita." So the real knower of the Gita hadn't even read one word, couldn't understand it, was illiterate. But he had that bhavna. Tears came from his eyes. was experiencing the Bhavanamrta of association with Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said, you are the real knower of the Gita. So he was sitting there day after day, pretending, trying to read Gita, even though he was illiterate, but trying to live up to the instruction, his order of his Guru Maharaj, and others were criticizing him, but he was the real knower of the Gita. So how can we become the real knower of the Gita? Through this Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. But we have to do it right, not wrong. So there's 10 offenses. So the number one is criticizing the devotees. If you criticize the devotees, after a short period of time, Lord Chaitanya says, here's the door. I've sent a car to take you back to where you came from. So there's 2 offenses that are the most serious. The one is criticizing the devotees, therefore it's number 1. And the solution to all our problems is the 10th offense. Who knows what that is? To be inattentive while chanting and maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. That's the 10th offense. Now you can carry on chanting the 10th offense and Krishna won't show you the door. You still stay in the movement, but you don't make any advancement. You just stay in the same place because you're inattentive. So you're not offending the Vaishnavas. Who are you offending?
Krishna.
You're offending Krishna himself, exactly. So Krishna said, okay, you've offended me for millions of births. I can deal with that. So Krishna can tolerate that you offend him, but he cannot tolerate that you offend his devotee. He shows you the door. So to do it right, we have to stop offending Krishna. Do you understand how being inattentive while chanting is offending Krishna? Who doesn't quite understand why, how it works?
Please give an example.
Okay, give an example. So supposing we're having a conversation and you want to share something with me, something that happened in your life, maybe something really bad, and you want some solace, you say this happened and that happened, I was so hurt and this and that, and you're revealing your heart, right? And then you say, so can you help me? And I say, oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking something else, I didn't hear what you said. How do you feel? Do you feel that I was rude? You think that maybe I insulted you? That you wasted your time with me? So why do we do it every day to Krishna? You understand that? We're inattentive. So whenever I chant Krishna's name, immediately my mind goes to my material desires. Krishna says, make me number 1, but every time I pick up my japa beads, Krishna becomes number 10, and my material life becomes number 1. Someone asked me one time, how do we know if Krishna is number 1 in our life? So I said, you just pick up your japa beads and start chanting. Wherever your mind goes, that's what's number 1 in your life. So every morning you experience that you are number 1 in your life. But you want to make Krishna number 1. So to do it right, you have to stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about others. Stop thinking nonsense. Malati Devi, way back in 1967, she said, Swamiji, before Prabhupada had his name, Prabhupada, what should we be thinking about when we chant this japa? Prabhupada said, where's the question of thinking? The mind's not even involved. The tongue vibrates and the ear hears. It's just here. The mind is supposed to just be peaceful. So the analogy I give is of the light switch. You have to turn the mind off. Just like you turn off the light, you have to turn off the mind. If you don't turn it off, you're being inattentive. Prabhupada explained inattentive in different ways. The word in Sanskrit is pramad. So first definition, Prabhupada in a very gentle way said inattentive. But when you went a little deeper in it, so inattentive means you don't give your attention to Krishna, you give your attention to your own life. Either my past, present, or future. In other words, instead of focused on Krishna Lila, I'm focused on my Lila. Every time I do japa, I'm thinking about my Lila. My past Lila, my present Lila, or my future Lila. So that's Prabhupada said inattentive. But when he got a little heavier, he said disinterested. Or inattentive because we're not interested in Krishna. We have much more interest for our own thoughts, our own lila, our own life, our own pastimes. So a little heavier than inattentive is not interested. And then Prabhupada went even deeper and said it means careless. You care less for Krishna, you care more for yourself, and therefore you chant carelessly just to get it over with. How many people after chanting 16 rounds go, good, finished my japa, now I can do something, go to the cinema or whatever. Now I'm free for the rest of the day. So that's careless. Chanting carelessly because you care less for Krishna and more for yourself. Sometimes, you know, the German word Keller, right? So in the homes, they have a cellar, and they have steps coming up. Sometimes you have to duck your head so you don't hit it, right?
Yeah.
There may be even a sign, watch your head, mind your head. But sometimes we come up a little quickly and we bump our head. That's careless, right? I wasn't focused. Oops, I hit my head. So that happens when we're chanting our japa every morning with carelessness. And then finally, Prabhupada said, pramad means madness. I've given you the process to go back home, back to Godhead, and you don't even realize it. You must be mad. Mad. Loco in Spanish. Pago in Sanskrit. Completely crazy. Because we're unconscious. Now I was in a class in 1975 in Los Angeles before Prabhupada asked us to go to India. It was July. In August he asked us to go to India. So in July, Prabhupada came to LA, stayed for a week, and he gave classes. In one particular class he said something I'll never forget. He said, so don't be Krishna unconscious. Krishna unconscious. Wow, I never heard that before. Don't be Krishna unconscious, he said. First become conscious, then you can become Krishna conscious. First become conscious, then you can become Krishna conscious. So, Krishna unconsciousness, just doing things to get it over with, to get it done. From this Krishna unconscious, will we get Krishna prema? No. Never. So then why do we do it? Pramad, out of madness. Completely mad. We're not even thinking. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Krishna unconscious. So first become conscious. Then you can become Krishna conscious. So when we chant this kirtan, I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it if you feel that I'm being invasive. But how many people in that last kirtan that we just did were thinking so many different thoughts? And how many people were just focused, all they heard was the mantra, and they were experiencing some feeling for Krishna? You have to answer that question. Because if you were thinking, you were inattentive. Krishna wasn't first in your life, you were first. Whatever my problem is, that's what I was focused on. That's Krishna unconscious. Maybe I was finding faults with somebody. It's Krishna unconscious. When we do the kirtan, this is the opportunity to become connected to Krishna. Tesham nityapi yuktanam. Tesham satata yuktanam. 10:10. Yuktanam means, anybody knows what yuktanam means? Anybody?
Connected.
Connected. How are we connected? Through our engagement. So yuktana means tesham satata yuktana, those who are always engaged. Bhajatam in bhajan. Priti purvaka, with full love. So we're connected through our engagement, through our service. That's how we're connected. But it has to be a bhajan, it has to be a meditation from the heart. And it has to be with love. Now what kind of love is priti? In English, the language is very faulty. We have one word, love, to describe all the different feelings of love. How many words do you have for love in German? Well, for example, the love that a parent has for the child and the love that the child has for the parent, is that the same? No, it's not the same. The parent's love is 100,000 times more than the child has for the parent. The child can hardly understand the parent's sacrifice. But we use the same word. But in Sanskrit, it's a different word. So priti is the love of a junior for a senior. So we have priti for Krishna. Krishna has prem for us. So all we have to do is have priti, not even prem. Just the love of a child for Krishna. Just a little bit of faith. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if you have enough faith that you just do your duty, just to get it over with even, still Krishna counts that as the first step of love. Because you're doing your duty. You may not want to do it, but you're doing it. That means it's a little bit of love is there. But we're meant to advance beyond that and develop, this bhavana. So the kirtan is the time to do it. So if we can't do it in kirtan, then we're hopeless, we're finished. Because it's much easier to do it in the kirtan and it's much more difficult to do it in japa. Therefore, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, not Sri Krishna Japanam. Because japa, our mind takes over. But in kirtan, we can control the mind. Why is that? Because when you sing, you can't think. It's not possible. Completely impossible. That means if you were thinking during the kirtan, it was when I was singing. And you weren't. So your kirtan goes like this. I sing, and then I think. I sing, and I think. I sing, and I think. So where's the Shravanam? It's Shravanam Kirtanam, not Thinkanam Kirtanam. So, Prabhupada taught us that every yoga system means controlling the mind and the senses. So, Krishna is explaining this to Arjuna. And Arjuna says, okay, Krishna, I get it. But let me tell you something. It's easier to control the wind than it is to control the mind. You know that verse in the Gita? Yes? Or Arjuna says it's easier to control the wind than... Yeah, you know that verse?
Not in Sanskrit?
No, have you heard it before? So how many people agree with Arjuna? How many people agree with Arjuna? It's easier to control the wind than control the mind. But what did Krishna say? What was his response? Well, Krishna gave, in 2 shlokas, he said, well, first, he said, yeah, you're right. It's not easy. But it can be done. I remember Prabhupada once told us, nothing good comes easy. I always remembered that. The bad comes easy. No one's working for negative things, but they come in our life automatically. It comes so easy. The good you have to work for hard to get something good. So nothing good comes easy, Prabhupada said. So Krishna says, yeah, you're right. It's not easy, but it can be done. And then he tells in the next shloka how it can be done. Everybody know that shloka? He's telling you how to control your mind, and you don't study that shloka. But here's the whole secret of success. What did he say?
By practice and detachment?
By suitable practice and by detachment. So Prabhupada explains in the purport what is suitable practice and what is detachment. So detachment is a negative concept. Attachment is a positive thing. So detachment is subtracting. Attachment is adding. Everybody will add to their life. People don't like to subtract, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lord Chaitanya said, this detachment is a negative concept. We're going to make it positive, just like Masu Chaha. Don't have any doubts, we're going to make it positive. Trust me. So detachment, we're going to make it positive attachment. We become attached to Krishna. Everybody has attachment. We're attached to so many things. Now we're going to give that attachment Shakti to Krishna. So we're only attached to Krishna. And by becoming attached to Krishna, you automatically lose a taste for everything else. Just like the example I give. Ladies, you're cooking at home, maybe you're using stainless steel pots, and someone says, you know, I'll give you gold pots for your stainless steel pots. Immediately those stainless steel pots become like, you have no more interest in them. You take them immediately, give me the gold pots instead. So Krishna is like the gold, but we're still attached to the stainless steel. See, it doesn't stain. It's wonderful. How wonderful this steel is, no stain. So when you get gold, you give up the steel. Or Prabhupada said iron. But nobody cooks with iron in Switzerland. Stainless steel. So we become attached to Krishna. Prabhupada gave another example. If you're holding something in your hand, let's say iron, someone offers you gold, you put the iron down, you take the gold immediately. So you have to put it down and you take detached from this, attached to this. So suitable practice. So that's detachment, become attached to Krishna consciousness, to the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, the Shastra, Guru Parampara. And suitable practice. What is that suitable practice? Prabhupada explains in the purport. Who's read that purport? What is the suitable practice? Who wants to guess?
Shravanam Kirtanam.
Shravanam is the suitable practice. In the whole purport, Prabhupada doesn't even mention Kirtanam. Doesn't even talk about chanting. He only talks about hearing. The suitable practice is hearing. Because you don't have to practice Kirtanam. It just flows, it's just natural, but you have to practice hearing. So in the Kirtan, we don't practice hearing. So we're not doing the suitable practice to control the mind. Wow. Do you realize that? Anybody ever have that realization? So, I have several suggestions. If you can't control your mind during the Shravanam part of the Kirtan, then you just carry on singing. Just don't stop singing. Even when the leader sings, you sing along with him. That way you're always doing Kirtanam because you cannot think when you sing. It's not possible. This way you solve the problem of the mind. You understand? How many people have had this experience? You're in school, you're in the college, university, you're sitting in front of the professor, you're taking notes. And sometimes you're taking the notes and all of a sudden your mind begins to wander. And you don't hear the next point that the professor makes. And then you have to look at someone else's notes. And then you copy in yours. How many people have had that experience? Everybody. What do we learn from this experience? Very deep, fundamental truth. When you think, you cannot hear. Just like not long ago, he came to me and he was revealing his heart and he asked me if I could help and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking something else. I didn't hear what you had to say, right? When you think, you can't hear. So if you're thinking during your japa, you can't hear it. So every day I do 16 rounds of japa that I don't hear. Will I make advancement? I won't make advancement because I'm not hearing, therefore Chaitanya Marjanam is not even taking place because the door is shut. Not only that, but it's an aparad. I'm insulting Krishna. So 2 counts. I'm not making advancement. But yet I do it every day. Day after day after day. And I never correct it. So the science of self-realization means that I first become conscious. Then I become Krishna conscious. I have to analyze, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Why did I not, How many people have had this experience? You're chanting your japa, Hare Krishna, 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 and all of a sudden you come to the Krishna beat. It's the end of the round. Right? And you can't remember how you got there. How many people have had that experience? Why can't you remember?
Thinking.
Because you didn't hear. The word remember means that it went in, and now you can bring it out again. But if it never went in the first place, never went into your memory, never went into your consciousness, it's impossible to remember. So I can't remember how I got there. So now I have a choice. There's only two things I can do. One, I can count it as a round chanted, or two, I chant it over again. What do most people do? They count it as a round chanted. I didn't hear it, I wasn't there, but I counted as chanted. 16 rounds, didn't hear. But what I should do is chant the round over again and hear, isn't it? So in the 1980s, I was trying to solve these problems. So I remember what Prabhupada told me. First become conscious, then you can become Krishna conscious. And over the years, I developed different strategies how to become conscious. And each strategy got better and better. My latest strategy is the most powerful, which we can share tomorrow because we're running out of time. But if you don't even have a strategy how to solve your problems, how to fix what's wrong, what's that German word when something is wrong? Kaputt. Right? If you don't fix it, then you have to fix it, right? You can't leave it kaputt. Am I right? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
So this means we're conscious. We know what we're doing wrong and we focus on it and consciously correct it. That way we make, what do we call it? Advancement. But if I don't do that, I just stay in the same place. I become a hamster instead of a Vaishnava. And at the end of life, there's only two destinations you can go to. Number one, you can go back to Godhead. Number two is you go back to Pampers. That's it. There's only two possibilities. You either go back to Godhead or you take birth again and you wear these Pampers for 2 years. So you learn how to go to the toilet again. Because when you take birth in your next life, you forget everything. You even forget how to go to the toilet. Forget how to walk, how to talk, how to read, how to write, you forget everything. You even forget how to go to the toilet. So think about it. When I take birth, everything I know in this life, I forget. I have to start over again and learn everything that I already know. I have to learn it again. Usually when I speak in India, there's families there and they have children. So I make the point. I say, oh, what is this girl's name? And maybe they say Sundari or something. And I'll say, Sundari, do you remember who your husband was in your last life? No clue. Then I make the point, see, she forgot everything. Then they get it, because Indians, you have to give them a good example, then they get it. So why don't we close with a nice kirtan and try and really focus on the kirtan. Just hear the mantra. Make Krishna number one. And forget everything else. Should we try that? We got time?
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So this melody has 3 parts. So we'll teach the other parts next days. All of these kirtans have names, their personalities. Most of them are feminine, they're called raginis. Some are masculine, called ragas. Yes?
What is wrong that we take birth again?
Sorry?
Wir taten, what is wrong that we take birth again? Wir Kirtan mit Vaiyasaki.
That's what's wrong. You do kirtans with Prabhupada. No, whatever we did wrong in the past life, that's finished. So, but what we're doing wrong in this life, we should be trying to fix it. You know? Then you won't take birth again. And when you get back to Krishna, you ask him, you please give some mercy to Vaiyasaki so he can also come home. Okay? Any other questions? So thank you very much for engaging me in service to Lord Chaitanya's movement and to Prabhupada's mission. I appreciate it very much. I enjoyed your Sangha very much. I hope that you also got some benefit. And we're here tomorrow, and that's Friday,
Fridays
Saturday, Sunday.
in
And
Saturday.
Monday we're leaving for Italy, Torino. So I'm very honored to be here and hope that we can chant more. Yes? We can chant more and we can go deeper, dive deep into this Hari Kirtan. And the deeper you dive, the higher you fly. Back to home, back to Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vaiyasaki Prabhu ki jai.